to finally be doing some demos here. When we're thinking about cancer treatment, before, after, during, one of the best things to focus on is getting more plants in, and especially getting more colors in. Has anyone here ever heard of antioxidants?
Yes.
That word? Antioxidants, right? Oxidation. What is that? Oxidation is even just being out in the sun, or there can be chemicals in our water and our environment that we can't always avoid. And that's what can cause oxidation in our body. And oxidation can, there's also something called free radicals, which we can get from the sun and from the environment. And these are things that we can't always avoid, right? It's just being a human, there's things that we are exposed to. So what we can do to kind of fight against those things are eat things that are high in antioxidants, things that fight off that oxidation. So you'll hear the word antioxidants, you'll hear the word phytochemicals. These are all compounds that are in plants that help fight off all of those, we can call those the bad things in our environment. And if you look at that list that you have there, and it says eat the rainbow, the really amazing thing about all of the different plant foods is that they contain sometimes hundreds of different phytochemicals. So we're going to use olive oil today. Olive oil is a great example of, it has hundreds of different phytonutrients, phytochemicals in it. And one of the best things you can do is just get as many different plant foods into your diet as possible, because each one's going to be a little bit different in terms of the different nutrients that it has. So even just comparing like a red bell pepper to a yellow, orange, green bell pepper, each bell pepper is going to have a little different nutrients that it has in it. I always say to people, these are things that you can't get in a multivitamin. You know, you can take a supplement maybe that has different phytonutrients, but it's nothing compared to eating whole, fresh, real fruits and vegetables. And you don't even have to be fresh. You can get frozen is really great too. We always talk a lot about fresh, frozen, canned. Is any way you can get more variety, more color in is going to be kind of the most important. Variety is key.
Cut them into julienne strips, so super tiny and skinny. If I'm doing, some kind of stir fry, I add these in a broccoli soup when you're gonna, and it holds up really well. So I try really hard, and sometimes I just want the top. So I throw this in the freezer, and then do it later, I usually use all of these for my broccoli soup. So, but it gives you an idea. Not to waste, right? We don't want to waste. So we're just gonna cut them. I like to break them off. Break them apart. You need about 2 cups. And then we're going to boil them.
Like a quick saute, boil, you will save more nutrients than if you were to like roast something for a long time in the oven. So that's kind of the benefit of that.
Okay, so then another ingredient we're going to do is garlic. Alright, so you don't need to do it for very long. You want to have it to be a nice green color, right? And keep it nice and green. Now, olive oil is not a high heat oil, so you want to have it on medium heat. You don't want it to burn.
And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of pine nuts. So 1 and 2. So nuts, no matter if it's a pine nut or almond, walnut, cashew, right? Any sort of nut that you like. When you go from a raw nut to like a toasted nut, you're going to bring out those oils, because all nuts are are a really good source of what we call like a healthy fat. So that's going to be, they're called your monounsaturated fats. And those fats are really, really good for us. They're protective in our body. They make up the lining of a lot of our cells. They're good for our joints. They're amazing for your brain. They are just really, really good for you in so many different ways. So nuts are a good source of that. And one of like the best things you can do is if you can buy nuts raw and then keep them in the fridge or your freezer, because what that does is it just helps prolong the life of the oils in your nuts. So you have your half of an onion, and then what I like to do, see how you can even see like the grooves in the onion? You can follow those grooves, and we're going to make some slices into the onion. But can you see how I'm not cutting all the way through? Right, I'm almost like starting right here, and then pulling the knife kind of in and then back. Do the same thing on the other side. You just want to watch your hands. And the narrower that you cut each cut, the smaller of a dice you'll get. So you should be able to fan out your onion like that, because I didn't cut all the way through. Then, right, so we cut this way. Now we turn our onion 90 degrees, and we're gonna cut, again, the smaller you cut, the smaller of a dice you get with your onion, right? And what you get here now is a nice kind of small dice on your onion. So I think that's a really good tip, so you don't have your onion going all over the place. It makes it a lot easier to just dice an onion that way. About just a teaspoon, you don't need a ton. We're gonna add our onions in, and we'll let those cook for a few minutes. We just wanna get these to get a little bit softer. Of spinach. This container is 5 ounces. I say we could do the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, now we're just gonna go ahead and kind of add everything in. So I have here the pre-cooked couscous. You can see it's got like, they're like little balls almost. So we're gonna add, this recipe called for about a half of a pound. So about, let's say 2 cups of your couscous. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add in our tomatoes. And then we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of parsley. How do we feel about parsley? Do you like it?